guys, all new Trek Fuel EX7. Trek's every person, every trail offering has received a complete revamp for 2020. And my name is Miles Kelsey. I'm going to take you through a quick tech overview plus a couple things about this bike that I really like. Let's talk a little bit about the positioning first off. Okay, so it's a 130mm rear bike, which means it's Trek's every person, every trail bike. The X factor on this bike comes in with the complete revision of the geometry plus a 140mm fork, which gives it an X factor and licenses it for the rowdy trails and rowdy crowd. Back to the positioning. Right, so 130mm fits perfectly in the sweet spot between Trek's top fuel, which is a 115mm rear XC marathon down country shredder, and Trek's full enduro bike, the Slash, which is a 150mm bike. Right, so this fits that sweet spot perfectly. It's a versatile trail bike which has broader capabilities in this new platform, this new 2020 platform. A little bit about the geometry and key points on the chassis. So yeah, it's longer, it's lower, it's slacker. The C-tube is also shorter, the C-tube is also steeper, which are key changes. The chassis is the entire range is optimized for short offset forks. The bottom of the C-tube, you can't really see from that angle, but the bottom of the C-tube here is a little beefier and a little square. It's a one-by-specific design, but having the C-tube beefier improves lateral stiffness, makes the bike more direct on the trail. Trek have also now done away with the full floater suspension system on this bike. It makes the bike lighter, it makes it pedal better, and basically they've done that because modern shock technology has improved to a level that Trek feel they no longer need the small bump compliance from a suspension design because they can get it from the actual shock itself. The bike has Trek's signature Mino link, which is a flip chip here, which gives you about a 1/2 degree adjustment on the head angle. And it has the ABP split pivot rear pivot, which is basically a concentric pivot on the chainstay and seat stay, and they meet at the rear axle. Advantages there is the suspension is smoother under braking and more active under braking. So big thing about the chassis that I really like on this bike is the chainstay is more rectangular in shape. And they've done that intentionally to make the chain sit on the chainstay. So what that does is on rowdy trails, there's less opportunity for the chain to build momentum and start slapping around on the chainstay. And I mean, the simple advantage of that is the bike is super quiet on the trail. It literally feels like your chain's off. This is the quietest trail bike I've ever ridden. And I really, really like that. Quiet bikes feel like fast bikes, and I really, really like that. Right, so that's kind of the geometry and the key points on the chassis. Couple things I really, really like. Okay, so I mentioned the chainstay. I really, really like that. But this bike is available in 3 models in South Africa. There's a Fuel EX5, a 7, and an 8, and they all sit between the 33k price point and the 56k price point. So, and they're all packed with value. There's good options there for whatever your wallet size. What is really good is there are 7 sizes of this bike available. So it's from an XS to a small to a medium, a ML, a larger XL, and a double XL. Why do I really like that? Well, fit is so important for mountain bikes and especially for trail bikes. And those 7 size curves mean that you can find the perfect bike for you, the perfect fit for you. Courtesy of the steepened seat angle, this bike climbs really, really well. It's a neutral climber. Yes, it's not XC marathon weapon on the climbs, and it does have big rubber, which you could change if you wanted it to climb a little better. But the seat tube being steeper moves the hips forward, and you get into a brilliant position on the bike for climbing. It climbs incredibly well. Incidentally, that moving forward of the hips kind of neutralizes the suspension a little bit on the climb and just compounds its ability to climb. Not quite sure on the science behind that, but it's something that I feel out there on the trail. So it's a broad the capabilities of this bike are broad. It appeals to everyone who just wants a trail bike and just a mountain bike to go and have fun on. And but the 140 fork and the revised geometry give it a license and an X factor for that rowdy crowd. There are frame set options available. The carbon frame is available as a frame set, and it does have the bits storage in the down tube, so that is something great. I personally use that kind of storage system for things like a gilet and food and car keys and an activity pass for the mountain and ID and that kind of stuff. And it just means you got less stuff in your pockets. Summary, I think this bike is making a good case to be the under 50k quiver killer for South African trail riders. Anyway, full reviews out on the site soon. Thanks for following, thanks for subscribing. See you on the trails.